Actually, we went to Super Bowl in my first year, and PSPs was a guest speaker at the church. Now, I didn't really care much about church. I just thought like PSPs is a beast, and playing the same position, I might get to shake his hand or meet him or something.
Mm.
And as he just gave his testimony, I just really felt the Lord just working my life and asking me, "Listen, what are you doing with your life?" And I was just like hit really hard. And as we closed our eyes and prayed, God gave me this dream of speaking in front of thousands of people, and they know me through my rugby. At that stage, I didn't have a contract, nothing. I was just playing for the varsity under 19 team. And as the years went by, I had the same dream one night, and so I almost made like a god of rugby because I'm not getting any contracts, but I have these dreams, and I know I have to make it. And
Yeah.
I got my first contract when I was in my third year on varsity, under 21. Bro, I was killing it. I made 1,800 Rand a month for 10 months,
Hey, come on.
living the dream.
Let's go. Hey, that's
And
18,000. That's a lot for a young
yeah,
man.
yeah, brother, you're on varsity third year. I took my room out for movies and pizza. It's all on me, don't worry.
Come on.
And
There we go.
yeah, so I made such a big deal of rugby at that stage where I almost put rugby above God. And I just never made it. I made a Vodacom Cup side and I made a Super Rugby training side, but just never made that break. And at the
Mm.
stage where I finished off my career or my studies, I was just like praying to God, like, is this what I'm supposed to do, or is it going to be going to work 8 to 5? Got my degree, so why not? And I made the decision to start working. Rugby's not happening for me, and I spoke to my dad about it, and he said, "Well, whatever I decide, he supports me." And literally, as I laid it down at God's feet, I think it was almost 2 months after that, I signed with the Lions, and yeah, it was just great for me to know that God's always got to be first in your life. As soon as it's so easy to
Yeah.
make a God of something else in life, and if you don't have your priorities straight, what are you actually going to honor God with?
Yeah.
God looks at your heart, not at your circumstances or your actions or something like that. So your actions flows out of your heart, and where you stand with God and the fruits of the Spirit. So yeah, signed my first deal with the Lions. Met up with you guys I was there with the Curry Cup 2012.
Yeah.
Played a warm up game. And yes, bro, there was nothing in it. I didn't know what to do. I was running around like a headless chicken. But yeah, luckily for me, God's hand was in it. There's a couple of guys who were injured, and I made my first Curry Cup start that year, 2012, and I played the whole season. I actually played lock, and
Oh, wow.
I was on the bench for lock the whole time. Yeah, so the high school days came through for me, and because we
Hey,
had guys
God's
like
plan, eh?
Quacha
God's plan.
yeah, definitely. I think that time, I think Yakuku was still on the bench with me, if I can remember correctly. Because we had Josh Strauss, Warren
Mm.
Whiteley, Michael Rhodes, Derek
Sure.
Mini. So they were the
Whoa.
starters, and Franco
Names.
van der Merwe, Hendrik Rood, yeah, those guys were on lock.
Sure.
So for me, a couple of the guys were injured, so I got my opportunity, and yeah, ever since that, we just carried on. Um, and you touched on the hair. So we played one game. I always play with a scrum cap with a dot on it. I don't know if you can remember that. But that was the
I
one
don't
year
think I
of my
don't think so.
matric year.
I know you like this with your hair.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll actually have to send you some photos. But I always played with a green scrum kit at high school. And my dad bought me a black one when I made the matric crayon week side. And my
Mm.
mom just couldn't see me on the field. She always just looked for the green scrum cap. So one day when I got back from school, my scrum cap was on the workbench, and my dad had paint, and he painted white dots all over the scrum cap. So my mom could just easily see me on the field
Sure.
again. So that
That's
actually
so
started
funny.
being a thing. Every scrum cap I got, my dad just painted it, or I painted it myself, and I played with
Mm.
that my first Curry Cup as well. And then one game, Derek Meany said, "Listen, we all lose these, so for this game, we strap our heads." I'm like, "Yes, sir." pretty scared of Derek Meany at that stage. And
Yeah,
so I taped
of
my,
course.
yeah. So I just taped my ears. And the next morning, I was in the back page of the newspaper, and I said the Lion of the Lions, and that's actually where it all started, with the hair and stuff. So something in my personal life why I actually started growing the hair was just not an agreement. You can't really say an agreement, but a commitment I made to the Lord. And this is just one small little thing how he actually used that for his glory. And throughout that, speaking at so many schools, men's days, churches, and stuff like that, where people recognized me through my rugby, and I could stand in front of thousands of people and just glorify God's name. So for me, it's the small things in life that God tested me on when I was younger without rugby and all that He could actually use at the later stage of my life.
Yes.
So yeah, from the
That's
Lions,
powerful, man.
I played 2.5 years with the Lions. Then I went to yeah, and yeah. So then I went to Cheetahs for 2 years after that. I signed my first contract in Japan, 2015, and yeah, then we came back to do Super Rugby for the Cheetahs. Went back, then I played Super Rugby with the Sunwolves for 2 years till 2018. And then I just pretty much stuck with the same side for about 8 seasons in Japan. So yeah, I think it was really a blessed, if I can say blessed time in rugby for me, experiencing that, different cultures, different religions, different people. Played 6 months in America when I ended off just in Houston, Texas. Same thing.
Sure.
I was a little bit over rugby, almost fell into a bit of a depression. We can speak about that a bit later, but just
Yes.
I still enjoyed rugby every Saturday. But overseas is just so tough. You get 11 and a half months out of the year. You're just on your own, alone. And then you come back home and you enjoy it and you see your family, your friends, and then you go back. So I was just at a stage where things just wasn't real kosher at the club where I was at, and I just asked myself the question: listen, Saturdays are amazing, but if I ask yourself like 2 or 3 times a week, why are you doing this? Something's not right. That's not glorifying God in what you do. So
Yes.
I decided to stop. My contract played my contract out, came back home. As soon as I got back home, I was on my way to fly to America actually, visit my sister with her little firstborn. My mom was with me
Oh, nice.
and sitting at the COVID testing lab back in the days. Um, the Heineke Meyer phoned me. He's like, he's starting up a team in America, Texas. He wants me to be a part of it. I'm like, I don't want any like leadership groups and this and that. I just want to enjoy rugby. He's like, no problem. But so I went over there for 6 months, and that's part of another testimony where I met people in America. That's my family now. In a short period of space, just amazing people I could just speak highly of. And through that, they helped me with business in South Africa. So literally for me, quitting rugby, just wanting to enjoy it again. God sent people over my life that helps me for my future again. So
Sure.
yeah, just seeing God's hand in everything and just how He operates is amazing. Yeah, after that, I went for another 6 months in Japan just to see like I was enjoying rugby again, and
Yeah.
went over there to a new club in Osaka, and just loved it. But still, the same thing. Towards the end of the season, I was just sitting at my home again, alone, and had a new challenge of a new team, performing again, and all that. But still, like 2 or 3 times a week, you ask yourself, "But why are you doing this?" So for me, at the end of the day, it was just a question of, is it still my passion? Is this what God wants for me in my life? Is there a new chapter coming up? And I just decided to call it. Came back in April last year, pretty much hung up the boots.